you're watching NoGlowCal.com. Yeah.
Today my goal is to train arms. I'm going to try to do something a little different. Normally I'll do easy bar curl along with dumbbells and preacher curls or so. Today I'm going to try to include straight bar curl. It's a little different from what I usually do. Normally I don't do straight bar curl. If you're new to straight bar curl, then just be aware that it may be a little bit harder on the wrist. So if you feel pain in the wrist, then you might want to consider easy bar curl. It's much more easier on the wrist. Trying to get the warm-up going. I always like to do tricep when I work the bicep. So for tricep, I'm going to be doing lying dumbbell extension. I'm going to be warming up with the 40s and working out with the 50s. I like to warm up with both hands since the 40s are a little lighter, but when I hit my workout weight, I do one hand at a time. One of the other things I'm going to include is the sit-ups. While I break between sets, I'm going to do some crunches to make best use of the rest time. You know, that 1 minute or so that you rest between sets. Now, I know that somebody's gonna say, when you do sit-ups, don't put your hand behind your head. Well, my answer is this. You do not want to pull your neck like this. Aside from injuries, there's just no benefit. The goal of the sit-up is to work the abs. The reason why your hand goes behind your head is either because of comfort, or it adds a little bit of weight and makes it a little bit more difficult to add some stress to the ab. But most of the time, when you do so, if you just leave your hand almost touching the head, that way you're not pulling on the head. Although it may look like you are because your neck is bending, your hand's just following the head. We made the best use of our rest time. Now we'll go on to our next set. This is my second warm-up set. Now, as I mentioned before about not seeing result and continuing, sometimes results takes time. Other times it's there, but you just don't see it. Like I remember when I was training, other people would say to me, "Wow, you look great." I didn't see it. So the problem is if we give up too soon, we may never benefit because we just won't see the changes. So before you give up, it's a good idea to ask someone, a close friend, probably someone who you haven't even seen for a while, for about a month or so, and just get some feedback as to what you look like. You might be surprised with the answer. And remember that when you train, the body's changing, and this takes time. It's not a 2-day process. It's not a weak process. If you're looking for something speedy, a week or so, this might not be the game for you. Or you probably end up doing something dangerous and end up hurting yourself. While I break, another go around on the crunches. Want to make sure I never neglect the abs. Keep it tight. I think a good set of abs supports the bodybuilder very well. Okay, so I'm gonna stick to about 2 set of warm up, and then now I'll go right into my set. So I'm gonna up the weight a bit on the curls, but also for the tricep, I'm gonna up the weight a bit. Generally, when I work arms, I like to work both bicep and tricep together. It's not a must. Some people just work bicep and then they work tricep when they do chest, which is fine. Nothing's set in stone. Now when you curl, you should watch your form and your speed. Not too fast, otherwise you won't get full benefit. Try not to swing, otherwise the result will also be limited. I'm up the weights a bit for the tricep. Now, rather than doing both hands on the tricep, I'm going to do alternating arms. There's a lot of talk about weight and the amount of weight. I think the conversation should be about results and what weights bring result for you, you know? There's nothing wrong with going heavy, but the goal is to get results. You may not have to go as heavy as you think. To get the result that you're looking for. But there's nothing wrong with going heavy either, if you can handle it. What really dictates heavy and light depends on the person. But if your repetition is about 8 or so, then that's a good weight. If your repetition is about 15 or higher, and you're trying to build muscle. And I say that because there's nothing wrong with working out with weight that allows for repetition of 15 or higher if you're trying to do cardio and just tone. But if you're trying to build muscle, that weight might be too light. So you may need to add something to it. So when we talk about heavy, for you, you may be able to do 50-pound dumbbell curls 15-20 times. For someone else, they might consider that heavy. Well, it's not for you, it's actually light for you. Heavy or light depends to a great degree on the amount of repetition you can do with that weight. If your repetition is about 8, then it's not heavy for you, it's just right. If your repetition is about 15 or more, then it might be heavy if you're trying to build muscle. I'm trying to go into my next set. Trying to keep it slow. I find when I keep it slow and steady, I keep the stress on the muscle, and the result for me is better. I find when I go too fast, stress on the muscle is just not there, and the results is limited. On to my second set of tricep extension. I really like doing these tricep extension because I think they're one of the best for isolating the tricep. And I think it gives great results. Now, if you're one who is looking for motivation to train, then some people find a training partner to be beneficial. I'm going to try to do some crisscross on the crunches to focus now on the obliques. The obliques are side muscles on the side of the abs. Now, getting back to motivation, if you think you need to, then you might benefit from having a training partner. Now, for training partners, there are pros and cons. The pros, well, hold on. pros when it comes to training partner. If you get a good training partner that's there on time, that won't mind trying different things, making changes, then when you don't feel like training, it might just be what you need to motivate you to get in the gym. Because I guarantee you, there are days when you won't feel like training. Do the other hand. Tricep extension, especially line tricep extension. Really focus this on the tricep. So much so you feel it right where you want to as you train. Now as I take my break, I make good use of that time by continuing my crunches. I'm going to try to do the side to side crunches to focus on the obliques. Now, getting back to training partner, if you have a good partner, not only will they motivate you, when you don't want to go, a good partner can also motivate you to go to the next level. Sometimes we become stagnant where we are, comfortable. With a training partner, of course, he's a different person, he or she. They're a different person, and if we're training together, they might want to do different things. And it may push us a bit to try something new and go a bit further. If we're going to try the route of getting a training partner for motivation, make sure we find someone that is consistent with their training pretty much, that will motivate us. And like anything else, don't be afraid to change, even if it's a friend. Just tell it like it is. Look, we're friends, but I don't feel like this is working, us training together. If you want to see results, you have to do what it takes. Now those are the pros of having a training partner. As to the cons of having a training partner, you may find it difficult to do what you want to do for yourself that benefits you. Because of course, when we train with someone else, there are limitations. And your ideas may not be what your training partner wants to do. In addition, depending on our type of training, that is, of course, if we utilize a training partner to train workout by workout together, or if we're utilizing a training partner as simply motivation to get to the gym, and once we get there, we do what we want to do, then we may find that if the first is what we do, that is, we train workout by workout with a training partner, we may have a lot of downtime. The reason for this gotta get the obliques and the abs. Now, when you do crunches, you want to go until you feel that pain, and then you break. Give it about a minute or so. Hit it again until you feel that pain. Break. Hit it again. We've finished with the straight bar curls. Now I'm going to go on into dumbbell curls. With dumbbell curls, I'm going to be doing the 50s. Getting back to training partners and the cons. If you train like I do, hang on. If you train like I do, with minimal rest for high intensity, then it's very difficult to have a training partner. Whoops, went too far. Unless you have two different setups. One setup for bench for you and one setup for that. Because you'll find that you may not want to wait until they finish. Unless, of course, you're doing a circuit type of training. So that you do one thing, move on to the next, then he or she follows up, and then you move on to the next, and he or she follows up. Oh, then you're fine. Otherwise, you may find that you just have too much downtime. So for me, with my style of training, a training partner doesn't benefit me much because I like to keep going. Plus, if you're very self-motivated, which of course is not subject of our discussion, but if you are, then there's no need for a training partner. Now we're going to head on to our second set of dumbbell curls. About this time, if you're following along, you might notice that your repetition on the tricep extension begins to decrease. It's fine. Just push right out to failure. As long as you follow it up, or follow up the curl with the tricep extension, then you're fine, and the results will be there. Now, with the crunches that I'm doing, it's a bit of a decline on the bench. For a little bit of extra stress on the crunch. And I started out with straight crunches. Then of course I went on into the crisscross to include the obliques. Now I'm mixing them up. Straight crunch and crisscross. In the latter sets that I'm doing, so as to keep the variety there. Now we're on to our third set of dumbbell curl to follow up with our tricep extension. When the weights are just too light, you won't see anything. And you won't be doing anything but toning. Okay, let's get on to our tricep extension. I can feel it in the tricep. This is what I'm looking for. Now, that's very important when you train. You want to make sure you feel it in the muscle that you're training. If you're trying to train bicep and you're feeling it in the wrist and not the bicep, you may want to double check. See what's going on. Or if you're training chest and you don't feel it in the chest. You may want to check your form as you do your chest workout. You want to be able to feel the area that's being worked. Bicep, you want to feel it in the bicep. Tricep, the same. You want to make sure that as you train, the workout is focusing on the area that you want to train. Now this may happen or may or may not happen because of a number of reasons. If the weight is too light, you just may not feel or notice it doing anything. Now, if you're trying to do cardio, stay in shape, then that's fine. You don't want to build muscle. Now, if your form is off and the weight is right, the same can happen. You may not feel it, and the muscle being worked. Now, the weight could be right, your form could be right, and you're just moving a little too fast. Then that too may not give you the effect for what you're looking for. You may not feel it in the muscle being worked. For example, if you're doing curls and you're going far too fast, especially if you're doing straight bar or easy bar curl, you may feel it in your back because your back is involved because you're just going way too fast. Or the sheer force of the weight as it goes down and up and down, and the jerks will get your back involved. So you'll feel your back more than you may your bicep. So if you try to make sure you feel the muscle being worked, no matter which muscle it is that you're working, then that way you get the best result that you're looking for, because you're sure then that you're working the muscle that you need to be working. Right now, I can feel the bicep, I can feel the tricep, and I can also feel the abs. That's where I was trying to focus on, and that's what I feel. And the same for you when you train. After you do a set, now you go through your warm-up set, 1 and 2, which is fine. But after you do a set or 2, you should begin to feel it in that muscle that you're working. If it's the abs, you should feel it in the abs. If it's the bicep, you should feel it in the bicep. The tricep, the same. The back, the same. The chest, the same. Once we learn to feel it in the muscle that we're working, whatever it is that we're training, once we learn to feel the effect in that muscle, then that way we're on the road to seeing progress from our training. And of course, everything else must be added. Our form must be proper, our sets must be where it should be, but all those things won't mean a thing if we don't learn to feel it in the muscle that we're training. So that's it for my arms workout for today.